I'm ready when you
Can
are.
you use, can you start PowerPoint? Yeah.
Well, now, we want to read the prayers first.
Yeah, I'll start PowerPoint. And the second page, number two, title of the page.
Okay.
We just want the title out.
Next one, title. Yes, great. Shall we start?
Yes, we can start.
Okay. How many of you are
Hello.
greeting from your Lord?
Greetings from London.
Thank you for coming today. So, now is the time and 2 p.m. the time. I would like to recite a journal spoken by the usual from Japan and read recite together.
We're ready, text.
The blue ones, spoken by Buddha. You all welcome. There is the knowledge and right. The light is the energy of Buddha. People can live by this energy. The Buddha's energy has many different history. It will be summarized eternally. This eternal light comes from heaven. And remains on earth. This is the light of heaven. To the principle of Buddha. There is the God of anyone. As you are in the sky. Here is the Buddha's mercy. Here is the power of teaching. What is the power of saving? There is the power of justice. How is the power of obedience? Blue is the color of thinking. Green is the color of harmony. Silver is the color of progress. These seven colors have each other. The day appears with light. Buddha is shining brightly. Because of the gathering of bodhisattvas. This is the land of life or the land of mercy. This is the land of wisdom and love of teaching. And especially, this is the land of love and peace. Here the children of Buddha. The children of Buddha became real human beings. Real human beings have spirituality. The spirits are Lord powers. The spirits are Lord forces. The spirits are real entities. The physical bodies are the shadows of the spirit. Giving you are the blessing of the great giver. The great giver is the symbol of the force of life. Each of you stands up as a small word. So you need a partner. You become one for your partner. You surely go around. This word really means your mind. If your mind remains the same, the body breaks into pieces by shock. And what goes in your mind will go. This is only the beginning of the true words. When you understand the mystery, you need to practice the mystery. The education of the true words is the teaching of Buddha. Buddha enlightened the soul of the true words, and Buddha's teaching became a whole. This is what the life suggests Buddha's teaching. These are the expression of Buddha's truth. It brings Buddha the day. Want to make your way. The truth of Buddha's mercy. All of you, now listen to me. Never reach away, now and forever. The guiding hand has already made. Please follow this white hand. And concentrate your home. Your lives are not limited to this one only. They have three aspects. The past, the present, the future. Your past has already gone by. Yes, you will face the same in your mind. That's the reason. What you should understand other people, and you yourself should reflect on what you have done. You and others are not different. On the contrary, what is our children of love, is brothers and sisters, loving each other, let us bring up each other, and it's time to forgive each other. This is the eternal law, which can favor the present and the future. Yes, indeed, the light of the dark night, the darkness of this world is hell. It is your order to save in another world. Since you gave around this world, the sun of the truth is shed to our eyes. Now we are watching rise himself. It will shed light to the future. He invites our people to serve. Now only here I command. There shall not be conflict in this world. There shall not be distrust in this world. There shall not be pride in this world. There shall not be evil spirit in this world. There shall not be the devil in the next world. But in the eyes of the Lord, your treasure shall be realized. For all of the people, love each other, live harmoniously, believe in one another. Our Lord is Christian. All of us could be the light of others. Believe in that divine reality. Believe in that calm reality. Believe in that true reality. These are the facts that should be proclaimed. We will unite as bodhisattvas. Get together, work together, to keep right mind, and live in tune with the others. Here I vow to do so.
Okay. Hello everybody, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so now let's start. Today's time, that is the cluster by hatred and impress love. So in this session, I would like to show you how love works, especially forgiveness. That is a very important point for us to develop ourselves. Then, this is a core teaching on happy time. Let's have a on next page, please.
Okay.
Yes. Master you heard studying from love. As you know, the core teaching for the happy time is four forms of love. First one is love. Why? Because love has infinite power. If you read the laws of the heart, clearly said, love is more than weapon. So, for example, love is more than tank. Love is more than nuclear weapon. So, that defeats all evil. Then, create utopia. If you practice love correctly, properly, you can see love has not only spiritual power, but also physical power to delete all evil. So that's why this is very important. That's what matters. And click on the next one, please. Yes, please listen to the master.
If you wish to live a happy life, it is essential to practice forgiveness. It's not easy to forgive others, for this is a spiritually enlightened state of mind. Forgiving others is not an easy thing. People who are educated and trained at work often develop a tendency to judge others. They tend to see shortcomings of others and are harsh on them. But it's very important to learn religious truth and realize that forgiveness has great effect on your life. Otherwise, you cannot change yourself. Most of the time, the reason why your relationships are strained and you are unhappy is because you hate someone. You are still bitter and angry at someone. You see others as the cause of your unhappiness. This is the most common reason. In a way, you are partly right, but the other party will probably say the same thing of you. For instance, your son is tragically struck and killed by a truck. It's a tragedy. You will be mad with rage. You might want the driver to go to jail for the rest of his life without payroll, or maybe even receive a death sentence. But that resentment will never bring you any sort of happiness. You are wishing ill on the other person, and wishing him to die as your son did. As regrettable as losing your son was, now you are allowing the darkness to consume you. If you consider the accident calmly, the driver of the truck may be a young man who works long hours with little sleep, driving all the way to Kyushu and back. Since he is working under strenuous conditions, accidents like this can occur. They may not be entirely his fault. He probably has a family as well, parents, wife, child, siblings. They may not be very well off, but their circumstances won't cross your mind at all. Hatred is all you will be able to think of. It's difficult to stop resenting someone who has done you wrong, but still, you must learn how to forgive. You need to say to yourself, well, stop blaming him. This won't make me happy. He also suffered a lot. You need to make up your mind at some point to forgive him. If anyone here resents someone or holds a grudge against someone, please try to forgive others and keep trying to forgive them. Someone will have attacked you, insulted you, embarrassed you, teased you, and slandered your name at some point in your life. But remembering this forevermore will not bring you happiness. That is why it is best to not bring it up. Forgetting about them is better. What is even better is to remember the good things those same people have done instead. If you find yourselves judging, resenting, or being angry at people you see as hurting you, you need to overcome those emotions. Forgiveness is not an abstract concept. It is not just a word. It is essential to your happiness. If you cannot do this, you will never be able to live in happiness in this world that you share with so many others. I am sure there will be people in your life who do not behave the way you want them to, and aspects of your past that didn't go the way you wish it would have. But through the act of forgiveness, you will be able to let go of these and attain peace. By forgiving people, you will sleep much better at night. The air will taste fresher, the sun will feel warmer, and you will understand people's kind hearts for the first time in your life. Those who hate others are really afraid of people and cannot enjoy such blessings. They only think of themselves. As I have said before, if we change our attitude, even the past will look differently. If you are happy right now, then every person you met in your life is one who appeared before you to make you happy. They include the boss who scolded you, the company president who fired you, or the woman who left you. If you are happy right now, then that is what they were there for. They were your guideposts to happiness. They were whetstones to your soul, and they were giving you advice on how to live as a human being. They had all been playing the evil villain in order to help you enter the road to happiness. That is why you must let go of any superficial grudges. If you are happy right now, then that will affect everything else in your life. You might say that you're unhappy because you're poor, but even being poor and living in a tiny room as a young married couple, if you were happy despite your lack of wealth, your story of poverty would be heartwarming and romantic. Please know that forgiveness has great effect on your life. And it is also a form of love that contains religious power. Everyone has Buddha nature, divine nature within, so allowing all people to radiate their brilliance is important. Everyone has a right to be happy. But not only that, they all have a duty to be happy. It's not only you have a duty to be happy, all other people have the same duty. The people you resent also have the same right and duty. If everyone is happy, the world will become utopia, an ideal world. So if you want to create an ideal world, you must know that you have a duty to be happy. And others also have a duty to be happy. Then that will change the world. So what can we do to carry out that duty? Respect the existence of others. There are many different perspectives and ways of life. Everyone has strengths and good points. What you see as negative in somebody may actually be what makes that person brilliant. So remember that all human beings can grow and spiritually mature. By gaining spiritual maturity, you can overcome all hardships and wrongdoing, both of others and your own. I hope you will bear this in mind.
Thank you very much. Yes, whenever you have a person who you cannot forgive, at that time, you cannot feel happiness. I mean, you can feel unhappy or miserable because you have someone who you cannot forgive. So, then, what should we do? This lecture show you clearly how. Okay, please click on next one. Yes, this is a summary of this lecture. Then I summarize some points. If you wish to live a happy life, it is essential to practice forgiveness. You understand that? You understand maybe, but it is hard to practice. It is easy to say, but it is very difficult to be done. Yes, I agree with you. Then please read it. Forgiveness is a spiritually enlightened state of mind. Forgiveness is the essential to your happiness. If it means if you don't have anyone who you cannot forgive, at that time you are happy, right? But actually you have someone who you cannot forgive. Yes. By forgiving people, you will sleep much better at night. The air will get fresher, the sun will be warmer, and you will understand people's kind heart for the first time here. Everyone has a right to be happy, but not only that, they all have a duty to be happy. This is a very important point. Not only life, but also this is a duty to be happy. Then all human beings can grow and become spiritually mature. By being spiritually mature, you can overcome all kinds of things and hardships. Yes, as long as you have someone in your mind who you cannot forgive, you cannot be happy. So you cannot fulfill a duty to be happy. Then what should I do? What should you do? Could you go next one? by clicking. Yes. Forgiveness is a spiritual practice that brings you happiness and spiritual maturity. You already understand that. Then, how can I practice forgiveness? That is your question. Yes. If you wish to live a happier life, it is essential to practice forgiveness. Please click on the next one. Yes. You understand that? Then go to the next, please. This is the key one. You already know this one. Life is the one of problems. The problem, all the problems, you can remember what kind of problems you have. Maybe 99% of problems are coming from relationship with others. Right? The conclusion is because you cannot understand others, that's why you cannot forgive others. This is a very essential point. If you can understand other people, you can forgive them. That's why. Next one, please. Forgiveness is a spiritually enlightened state of mind. Yes, happiness depends on how many people you can understand. Yes, tolerance, forgiveness is the same as power to understand others, power of recognition. So that the higher you are going to in the heaven, the more power of recognition you can have. This is the essential. Then, who forgive all people? Please go to the next one. Forgive everyone, no matter who you are. He forgives you, right?
Yep.
I think everyone, because you, okay? Everyone did bad things, but everyone still allow you to stay alive. And so, he has given the eternal life. That is the beyond forgiveness. We need to remember. Okay? So, then, but you may wondering, what is the God who can forgive everyone? I'm not a God. How I can practice forgiveness? Okay, I will show you the real experience. Please listen to this part of the testimony. Okay, so click on next one, please. Okay, please listen to her message. Miss.
When I did some depression, I was weak. I was I was confident. I was always
my parents. Being raised up by my grand auntie and grand uncle, he was very strict on me. He was very awkward, awkward things, something like that. And then he was and one at a time, they had a little branch over with maybe an orange like that. You know, I feel that no, we can learn adults. And I was, physically abused and also mentally abused because I was told every day that you're stupid, you're stay home now, everything, so that you wouldn't even like, you're not flexible, right? And so I was involved by all the ability that and I realized that actually I feel a very small, some shape around me, and I tell myself that no, I have to be very strong, I'm very strong, that I should not be the people. But anyway, I was then I couldn't do anything. I'm speaking education, and I was educated. Because my mother told me that you were very poor. So when I was going my other people, and I realized actually that some people actually to understand others. At that point in life, I didn't understand that what my parents had gone through because they were poor and they couldn't become me. So, and I had 3 more siblings. People who make so, only this thing I came back to my parents when I was 15 years old. I was 15 years away from my father, my parents, for about 20 years. So, there was a communication for me. I was alone. And I had they didn't love me at all. They didn't love me. And then I had to do a lot of practice chores with my mom, taking care of my mom and my brothers. I, I, I felt it's thankful. I hated them. I hated them so much. And even though my mother's day, and I felt that he's supposed to raise me, but I tried to forgive. I was alive. He's about 70 years old. He's engaged. Until now, I, I have no courage. I have no courage to call my mother. So, to convey my regards to her. Even though at times I keep on thinking about this is happening to me. It's an attachment. I don't have to get it off. That's why one day I told her that I'm begging you for to shut her before the children. And then she was very happy. The bag, the bag full of trees. So she had my 5 of us offspring, so 5 of us, and I'm renting her in the hope that I can get along with her and I could forgive her. But that made me even more respect to her. I just couldn't forgive her from the bottom of my heart. Even I tried to. So from this retreat, I found that actually all this come to me and asked my God, this great woman, I was born with this blood. What's wrong? Excuse me, I don't have. What kind of reason I have to this time? I asked, Nathan,
want some protection, and I intend to go home. And because I have to notice all my mother, that's all how I know all these things. You know that actually I love her very much.
Thank you very much. All okay. Okay. Now, pattern. We need to practice holiness. Otherwise, you cannot fulfill your mission. That is a turning point for everyone's life. Why God has given us a heavy homework. So we should not run away from the homework. Otherwise, homework itself will chase you. Okay, so click on the next page. This is the keyword to understand your situation. So this is a golden rule to understand your situation and change your fate or destiny. First point, minimize the time you spend thinking of yourself and maximize the time you spend thinking of others. Literally, it is the truth. So, as I said, believe it or not, actually, the people who are very, very miserable, they are thinking of their own benefit only. But happy people think of others happy. Okay, this is the first point. Then, this is a perspective we have to change first. The second point, recognize other points of view and understand others. So, because normal people can have one or two or three points only to understand the situation. Very now, actually there are 100, 1,000 or 10,000 points of view to look into your homework. But you stick to only 1, 2, 3 points. That is the starting point of unhappiness. And also, whenever you understand the situation or others, the problem will be solved. So this is the second point. And as a result, naturally, you can practice forgiveness. That is the first point. Please remember these 3 points. Whether you have the time to spend thinking of others. And the second point, you have a wide viewpoint. Did you take 10,000 points of view for your own homework granted by God? The other result, you can forgive others from the bottom of your heart. Okay, so as this forgiving practice, now we are practicing forgiveness. In this, now we are starting practice and meditation with relationship with others. So in this meditation, please remember only one person is okay, one person or 2 persons if you are one. Remember clearly person who you cannot forgive. Then ask your guidance spirit, why this person come to my life? What is the mission this person. Do you understand? Okay? So, first, to practice this meditation, we will recite prayer to guardian guiding spirit. Okay, that's enough. Please click on the next one. Alright, let's recite prayer to guardian spirit. That is on the prayer class. Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Prayer to guardian my guardian guardian. This is the you are about to live the life of the soul of the spirit of courage. Every day, may you help me develop my soul and revive my life. Every day, may you give me to show the right path to follow. Please protect me from all evil and guide me to a better life. I give my thanks. Okay, then please relax yourself and relax yourself. And put your hand on your lap with stepping upward. And make sure your back straight. This is the antenna to the heavenly one. When you practice meditation. And gently close your eyes. Now start deep breathing. From your belly. Not chest, not neck. From your belly. Breathing slowly through your nose. And breathe out steadily through your mouth. Get a breath. Sink down through your stomach. Please practice this way several other times so that you can get a peace of mind. Okay, they're going to make it naturally connect. Okay, now we will start the meditation on relationship in the significant other. The relationship that you are setting up to is like a symbol for what you have been given from God. So please imagine one specific person who you cannot forgive at all, or you don't want to see him or her. But suddenly he or she cares to you. You have to have a few minutes with him or her, and have to talk with him or her. So you encounter him or her, and now you are sitting in front of him or her. Have to talk with him or her. What you should do to forgive him or her. It is hard, but just try. Okay? Let's start. I will give you a 5 minutes for this. Let's start. So we are going to the next step. Please put your hands in prayer. Now we are asking our guardian guiding spirit, what is the answer? What is the answer? Why this person is coming up to me? Please ask your guardian guiding spirit. Guardian guiding spirit in this room. Guardian guiding spirit in this room. Please give your lovable person accurate direction to answer his or her spiritual draw. Guardian spirit in this room. Guardian spirit in this room. Please answer your lovable person the accurate direction to develop his or her soul. Okay then, please start conversation with your guardian spirit. Why this relationship problem has happened to you? Ask your guardian spirit. Please start. I will give you a few minutes on. Let's start. You can release your hand for your love. Or you can keep your prayer time for a moment. Whichever is okay. Okay, then slowly end their meditation. And obvious. Thank you very much. How was it? Maybe it's too short to think of that, but still you can think of that. So I'd like to show you answer from Master Walker. Can you click on to the next one? Lecture from Master Walker. Maybe click on it, yes.
Since ancient times, it has been said that there is a huge tree in the universe that could be called the cosmic tree. One tree, one enormous tree, that is the tree of life. They say this tree exists in the universe. If you take a look at this big tree from an even greater perspective, its branches extend well beyond this earth to all parts of the universe. But if you look at it from the viewpoint of Earth, it appears to be one big tree growing like a pillar among the spirit group we call Earth. The name of this huge tree of life is El Cantare. It is the origin of life on Earth. All spiritual energy flows from here. There are many large branches coming from this huge tree of life called El Cantare. These big branches are races, and these branches represent the various races of different countries. What determines the ethnic groups? It is religion. The difference between the ethnic groups is the differences in religion. A branch divides again into separate countries or groups of people that share a certain idea. Then they subdivide again. Thus, a large branch divides into medium-sized branches, and then smaller branches of life come out of there. And when it gets to the very end, from this small branch grows yet another final and tiny branch. A very, very tiny branch. On the end of that branch, a cherry blossom blooms, surrounded by leaves. Suppose that there are 6 leaves at the end of that branch. This cluster of leaves at the end of the tiny branch can be seen as a single life form It consists of the core or head soul that works as the control center and 5 other brother or sister souls, which are actually part of the same life form. These souls are at the end of this branch. In general, a single person holds the energy of about 6 lives, but only about 1 human's worth of energy is born onto this earth at a time. Then, after a few decades of spiritual development, you move on to the next world with a new personality. After gaining new experiences and knowledge in the 20th and 21st centuries, you return to the other world. And that memory remains in the soul and is shared by other members. That is how it works. Your own personality exists on the very end of a branch of this giant cosmic tree. But just before the point where your branch splits off, there are several other small branches growing. These are where the people that you call your soulmates exist. I'm sure you will meet someone who especially captivates your heart. It is not always a man-woman relationship. The person can be of the same gender. Although not related to you, he or she feels like a relative. Or it may be a lifelong friendship with someone you are fated to meet. This friend will appear in your life that will guide you to the truth, and you will spend decades together. This kind of companionship, the soulmate, actually exists. So when we think about the meaning of life, we must think about it very deeply. From now on, when you meditate, if you think about a particular person who left a very deep impression on you, I'd like you to ask yourself if that person actually has a special connection to your soul through fate. There are 20 to 30 people around you who are spiritually connected to you. And this is the group of people that will decide your happiness and unhappiness in life. Most of these people were destined to meet you in this life. There are people who you are certainly and absolutely destined to meet at least once in your life. The life training that that person offers is necessary for you. Some appear as kind supporters, while others teach you strictly or give you hardships. However, there are people that you absolutely must meet. In some ways, this is a workbook of problems in your life. In your workbook, you must meet this person and that one and that one. You carried forward some issue from the previous life, so you must settle it in this one. For example, in a past life, you were parent and child or husband and wife, but something came between you to cause great hatred. You must meet the person again in a different relationship to test what will happen this time. So when problems like love-hate relationships with someone who has a deep influence on your life occur, in most cases, these are problems coming from a past life and a part of God's plan for you. So don't think that it's just happened to you in this life, but assume that there is something this problem should teach you. All souls are actually connected to each other. So in the competitive society of today, you may compete and win or lose. But remember that your opponents are not your absolute enemies or rivals. Many of them are people you have met many times in past lives. I want you to understand that all souls are spiritually connected to the great tree of life. That is why I preach to you about love. I tell you to love each other. And when I say that, I mean that you are not strangers to each other. Actually, we are all connected. Somewhere, at some point in time, your original life energy is connected, and many of you have met before in many different eras. When a new Dharma is taught, like it is now in this life, many of these people are reborn. During the period of Lanu, God, Hermes, or Buddha, you all met before, and you are now meeting here with a different appearance or role, perhaps switching gender or swapping parent-child roles. You are a shoot from the same large branch. So it is a sin to hate and despise each other. This is a sin because it injures. It is said that the opposite of love is jealousy and hatred, but I want you to overcome it. You envy a person, but actually you are companions. In many cases, the person that you despise and feel hatred for has an extremely deep connection to you spiritually, and is someone you have met many, many times. So I tell you, stop hurting each other, stop speaking ill of others, stop hating, and instead, bless each other. Do these things for the sake of your own soul's development. Our religion, Happy Science, was created to teach that.
Thank you very much. Okay. The only point what we would like to emphasize is we are connected. We all are connected to each other without exception. Even if you are Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, we are connected to each other. That is the key word for people in happy science. We don't say we are only one or we are better than yours. We are better than others. We say we all are connected to each other regardless of our religious identity. That is the point. Okay, so going to the next thing. Like this. Yes, there is massive, huge tree like this. There, one of us is one small leaf of many leaves. And then branches like religious Christianity, Muslim, Buddhism, Shintoism, Japanese Shintoism, something like that, or Hinduism. So, sometimes one branch insists that try to cut other branches, or kill other branches. That is very stupid way. Okay, insists that our God is better than yours. Actually, we adore, we worship same God. That is one of the victory. Okay, creator. Creator is one. No matter what you call, God, Buddha. Okay, so this is what Master Encantare do that. Then they go to next thing. So these are life of truth. Master said, there is a massive tree of life exists called Encantare in that universe. Whatever you call, God, Buddha. That is the root of all life on earth. You are a part of holy tree called Encantare. Every single person is connected. Every life energy connected to the same root of life. That's why it is crazy if you have someone, or if you try to avoid have a relationship with someone. Okay, we can understand each other because we are connected to each other. The soulmate means a him to figure out the meaning of life. That's why we need to love each other. This is the conclusion of this thing. Okay, this today's lecture. You understand that?
Yeah.
Okay. So, this concludes today's one. Then, after 2 minutes later, time-wise is 3:20, I think. But from 3:20, we will have according to the street. Okay. So this is the plan lecture. Then from 20 past 3, we will start Zoom meeting like children or your feelings like that. Please share with us. Okay? So, please wait. We have a meeting to discuss. Alright. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you. Thank you.
See you.
Right.
That was good.
That's
You.
right.
You so much is like making me laugh. You make me laugh. You're making me laugh.
I was wondering why you're laughing.
It's right. She's my soulmate. She was born
Two
on
of
Wednesday.
You are soulmates on the cosmic tree. Remember, when one branch tries to cut off the other, that is a stupid thing to do. Just remember that.
I'm trying to hang on to be alive.
But we wasn't